Okay, so now we are going to look at the central nervous system and its basic anatomy, physiology, and things related to that. Now, here's a question or here's a point that in jugular foramina there is the exit of cranial nerve 9, cranial nerve 10, and cranial nerve 11. Jugular foramen has exit of these three nerves, cranial nerve 9, 10, and 11. These three nerves exit from the jugular foramen of the skull. So how can we memorize that? For memorization of this, we have used a joker who is juggling the balls, and that joker who is juggling the balls having jugular foramina linking, and his shirt has written 9 or 11, means cranial nerve 9, cranial nerve 10, and cranial nerve 11 are exit coming out of skull via jugular foramina. Another one is hypoglossal canal. Stylomandibular foramen has exit of hypoglossal nerve. So glossal stylomandibular linking, we have linked it with tongue because hypoglossal nerve supply the tongue innervation. Stylomandibular foramen has exit of hypoglossal nerve. So in this way we can link different points of difficult terminology, and those which are points difficult to memorize, we can link them to memorize them in the better way. Now the same, we are going to look at the arterial supply of the cortex having anterior cranial artery, anterior cerebral artery, posterior cerebral artery, and middle cerebral artery. Anterior cerebral artery supplies the lower supplies the medial portion of the hemisphere, and its occlusion results into lower limb involvement, lower limb syndrome. Another one is middle cerebral artery occlusion results into the left cortex and stroke happening, and posterior cerebral artery has the function of supplying the occipital lobe, and its blockage leads to vision problems. So this is the thing that you have to keep in the mind. And the next one is the histological cells of the different parts of the neuron, different neurons present in the brain. Now as you can see, this rocket indicates there is ependymal cells which secrete the thrush of CSF. Now these ependymal cells are present in the lateral ventricles, and these ependymal cells secrete CSF. We can memorize that by linking it with this. Now these microglial cells are the tiny looking microglial cells are protective army for this planet, and these microglial cells are protecting the nervous system, neurons. Another one is the oligodendrocytes. Oligodendrocytes myelinate the CNS, and these barrier forming cells are astrocytes, which form blood brain barrier. So, these four types of the cells forming the different physiological important points, important cells of the brain. Now, cerebral cortex has prefrontal cortex, which has motor function, and behind that there is a parietal lobe where there is somatosensory cortex is located, and at the back occipital lobe is function of the vision where uh, the posterior cerebral artery is supplying, and the next one is temporal lobe is auditory function.